Welcome back. Another review video here. This is kind of an update video because we have talked about our tents before, but it's been a few years.
Yeah.
And we've been using these tents the whole time. Thought we'd just talk a little bit more about them. So, what are you going to talk about?
So I'm going to talk about the SlumberJack Nightfall one-man tent that I used, and I've been using it for the last, I don't know, what, 3-4 seasons?
I guess this would be the 4th season.
This would be the 4th season. And I just got back from Oregon where I spent 8 nights, well, 7 days, 8 nights by myself sleeping in this tent.
And I've got Alps Mountaineering 1.5 man, which, I mean, I'm kind of like 1.5 men.
Yeah.
So, kind of a big dude, which is great for me and all my things in the tent. And I've put a lot of time in this. I just came back from Yellowstone in July. I was out there on a fly fishing trip and I spent the whole time sleeping in this thing. Wasn't any backpacking involved, but I've backpacked with this thing plenty of times and it's a great tent. So why don't we get into it? All right, Tag, you're it.
All right, so like I said, I use the SlumberJack Nightfall one-man tent. This is a 3-season tent. Now, it does have a pole system. So you're not gonna use your trekking poles like some other backpacking lightweight tents, but it still comes in lightweight. In this setup configuration that I have, that I run it in right now, it is just over 3.5 pounds. So it's still pretty light. It's not ultra light, but it's a light tent that is very versatile. So one thing I love about this tent is that it doesn't take up a large footprint. It is literally just the width, a little bit wider than a person's shoulders, not very tall, so you can get into some tight spots, and then you don't have to have a large flat area to set it up on. You can kick out a bed, a mule deer bed or an elk bed, and kind of just set this in there and be pretty comfortable. This Oregon trip that I was just on, you know, I had just a flat enough spot for this tent and it worked out just perfect and just fine for myself. Lots of space in here. Inside, I mean, there's tons of space. All right, so I'm 72 inches, 6 foot, and I have all sorts of room in here. I mean, you can see, I mean, I can't stretch my arms all the way out, but I'm pretty comfortable and in a pretty good spot. Got plenty of room for my sleeping pad, and I even still have some width room. So, you know, I'm 200 pounds, so I'm average build, I would say. But, you know, I got plenty of space. So if you're on the larger set, you know, you don't have to worry about this tent being too cramped for you. I can sit, you know, almost sit up and down and be able to look out. So if it was raining one day or something like that, I could sit here in glass for my shelter or do whatever like I wanted to in the morning. So the only downside that I don't like about this tent is the vestibule here. So it's only got the one vestibule to be able to keep all my gear and stuff dry, and it's not the biggest vestibule in the area. So this other flap does come down, and then you zip it up, and it does, you know, kind of give you a little bit more space and stuff that's covered throughout the night if it rains or something along those lines, and you're gonna keep your stuff nice and dry. But you know, then that takes away your area that when you wake up in the morning, you got to kind of shuffle some stuff around for when you get out of the tent. Another thing I love about this tent is if you are trying to go super minimal and you're trying to cut all the weight that you can, this tub style liner, you can actually take this out and you can run just the cover and rain fly. And if you're gonna run just the rain fly and the poles with the stakes, you're just at a little over 2 pounds, if not even a little bit less than that. And it does have a floor where it's just a single layer of floor that you can buckle in to the bottom and run that if you want to, or you can just go straight onto the ground. I prefer a tub style liner with the bug net, just because, you know, September, you know, summertime, there's a lot of bugs flying around, a lot of things crawling all over the ground and stuff. And then the tub style also, if you do get caught in a rainstorm or something, it will keep the water out of your sleeping area and it will go right up underneath the tent. The tent also comes with 9 stakes. It has the 4 stake points that you for your sleeping area, and then it has a stake point in the center of the top right here where this pole connects down the bottom, and then you have 2 stake points on each door that you could use if you did get into some high winds or anything like that. I've had this thing set up just like this in 20-mile-an-hour winds, and it didn't even budge. You wouldn't even have known that there was really a windstorm going on. There are 3 guidelines that you can use and set up and run out to give you some extra secureness in your tent and having it hold it down. There's one on the side here, one on the back, and then one on the other side. Another nice little feature is it does have this little vent door right here. That's Velcroed with a Velcro thing to keep it open, or you can close it just like that. But it's nice to have a little vent. Let yourself breathe, and that way you're not building up a lot of condensation inside the tent. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much the down and dirty on the tent. Like I said, I spent the last 7 days, 8 nights in this tent and had no issues at all the whole time I was in Oregon.
I've got the Alps Mountaineering set up, and with the 1.5 man style here. It's a great tent. I will tell you, it's not necessarily the best backpacking tent out there because it is a little on the heavier side. So total packed weight with every little piece that comes with it, you're looking at about 5 pounds. I typically strip this down. I don't even bring the stuff sack with me or any other parts, bags with it. I'll literally just take the tent itself, the rain fly, the bare minimum stakes I need, and then the 2 poles, and I'll pack them down into my bag. So I'll use a waterproof stuff sack that I'll shove all of my tent stuff into, along with my sleeping stuff, and I'll put the stakes in there as well. And my poles I'll just shove in the inside my pack somewhere. And what that does is brings me down probably closer to close to 4 pounds, maybe a little less than 4 pounds. Still not the best, right? But for my purposes, this has been great. So I've got the rain fly set up on this, and what I like, and I always use the rain fly, and whether it be for the shade piece or whatever, but I can open this thing up and get a lot of good breeze. What I like about this setup is it has a double vestibule. So I've got this door, the screen door here that opens on this side. I've got this rolled up, and then I've got plenty of space in here for storing gear. I'll put my boots back in here. I can put some other stuff down in here. And this vestibule comes all the way over, and I'll show you here on the other side. So on that other side with the other vestibule, you can see this is with the door closed, right? This thing's really, really handy having it on both sides. So you can see how much space is in there. I can actually take my pack and lay it down, on this, like the side that I'm not going to use getting in and out of the tent. I'll put my pack in here and lay it down, kind of leaning on its side a little bit, using this pole to kind of brace it a little, so it's not leaning against the screen. What's nice about that is then once I'm inside, I can open up the screen door here and get the stuff in that pack. And I'm not putting a wet pack or a dirty pack or that kind of stuff inside my tent. I can also lay my bow in on top of that if I wanted to, or a rifle. I've had a rifle inside this tent before too. So for the ventilation, like I talked about, I can open both sides of this and get the nice cross breeze, which is really, really nice. I can set this up underneath a tree with some good shade to get that cross breeze. And it also has this here little vent. It's got a little piece here that you just use the Velcro, and that'll hold that open, get some ventilation coming in and out of there. There's tons of room inside, and there's plenty of ventilation. So this is a 3-season tent. This is probably not, I used this in the winter this past year, and it was a little sketchy in the snow, to say the least. As you can see, it's got the tub down here, and I got screen here. There's really not much of a lip here. And that was one thing I did notice. I was in, I think, Idaho, and tons of snow, and it was blowing, and it was a little bit sketchy, to say the least. I'm 6 foot almost, about 5'11" and a half. about 230 pounds ish, maybe a little extra. But you can see this is that whole 1.5 man. So you can see I've got all this space on the side. So when I'm in here, I've got my sleeping pad and my sleeping bag, but then on the sides, I can stuff, gear all along the sides and be just fine. I've got a little, pouch up top here. I'll put my headlamp in there and then have it down so it illuminates the whole tent, and a couple patches on the side. But this tent, like for me, sitting in here is great. I can get in and out of the weather and get all my gear in and out of the weather, whether it's using the vestibules or the space around me, which is why I wanted the 1.5 man style tent. And I'm very glad I went with it. So I opened up the side on this side, and I got a real nice breeze coming in here. I might just take a nap. I don't know, Charlotte, you want to take a nap with me? Yeah, come on in, let's take a nap.
I got it.
1 man and a little kid size tent. Look at this. I mean, if this doesn't make you want to pick up one of these tents, I don't know what will. Nap time. So there you have it. Alps Mountaineering 1.5 man tent. As you can see, it's a pretty good setup. Sturdy. It does well in all 4 seasons, even though it is a 3-season tent. And I'd be cautious when you use it in the wintertime, because I've had some sketchy times. But holds up in all kinds of stuff. It works just fine for backpacking. It's not the lightest tent, but it will work. And honestly, for the functionality of the tent, I don't know that I would want something any different, because I've got so much room for all my stuff, and I like having my stuff with me inside the tent, not staged outside, except for my food, obviously, because bears will eat you if you have your food. So there you have it. Let me know what you think.
So like we said, we've had these tents for quite a while. We really do like them. Yeah, there's some downsides to them. There's downsides to all the tents, but we are just working everyday guys, and we really try to minimize our prices on gear, because we got to buy tags. I'd rather spend my money on tags than on a bunch of gear. So price points is always an important thing, and there are some expensive tents when you get into like backpacking tents and lightweight tents.
Hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But this on SlumberJack.com, $120. And then every 4th of July and usually Black Friday, you can catch them on sale. We actually have a link down below that you can click on to get yourself one of these tents. And then you didn't spend very much on yours either.
No, so I got mine on GuideFitter. Alps Mountaineering is on GuideFitter, and this tent on there was like $100.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Alps Mountaineering is a pretty good company. They're not one of the high-end companies, but for $100,
yeah,
this tent, and I've beat the living heck out of this tent on numerous occasions. So I got no complaints.
Yeah, I mean, and we didn't spend, I've seen some of those, Kuyu tents, some other Alps Mountaineering tents. They can be $400.
Yeah,
and they're just ridiculous.
Yeah, $400 for a tent that I'm not going to use that much is not something I'm looking at doing. So, at any rate, there's what you got on the tents. Hopefully that helps give you a little bit of a better idea of some good gear that's out there that won't break the piggy bank. And come back, check us out again, check out the rest of our reviews. Leave a comment, let us know what you think, and if you have any questions about any of this stuff that we're using, or if you have some other stuff that you'd like us to talk about, and if you watch any of our videos and saw something we were using, just let us know. So,
all right, catch you on the next one.